Welcome, beautiful buddy saint-germain family. As you've seen, I've asked you guys on Twitter, ask me questions, recording for a Q&A. We got 96 comments to go through. Let's do this as quickly as possible, going through every single question. Let's do this. Would you rather attend a Diddy party or go to Epstein Island? All right, starting off with an absolute banger right here. Obviously neither. But I think Epstein Island is way worse than this, just because it has to do with actual kids, like not under 18, under 12. So, but no answer. I'm not gonna go to either place. Did you prefer long hair over short hair, and why? When it comes to my hair, as you guys have probably seen, I've been bald, I've had long hair, I've had blonde hair, I've had braids, I've had this, I've had that. And honestly, I don't have any preference. I could agree that shorter hair is more comfortable. You know, when you have long hair, a lot of hair, you know, drops off everywhere. You feel like a dog, like a cat. But honestly, I don't have any preference. I think this looks really good and this looks really good, just in different ways. It's like it's like Messi, Ronaldo. Both look very good, but differently. So I wouldn't say, honestly, I have a preference. So there is no reason why I prefer that over that. Will you be doing any watch-alongs during AFCON? Also, thoughts on people discrediting Upamecano because of 2 bad games that happened 2 years ago. I might be doing watch-alongs during AFCON. I'm already thinking about that period during December, January, taking a little bit of a break. Not break from YouTube. I'm still going to upload videos, just less than usual. But I'll be working really hard from now until the start of the PSG season, and then taking a break along with the players. But I should be doing maybe one, especially Algeria, maybe other nations as well. Could be interesting. I really enjoy AFCON. And what that is about, it's casuals. It's people having an ignorant opinion. For example, if I want to have an opinion, if I want to sit here on the channel and talk about Pedri, I need to watch Pedri to talk about Pedri. But there are unfortunately a lot of people that hold football opinions without watching the player or the team or anything. And these people don't watch Upamecano. They just seen, you know, the highlight reels of Upamecano mistakes, and ever since then call him a bum. A little bit with Araujo as well. I mean, Araujo is one of the best centre-backs, made the mistakes. Egregious mistake versus PSG and even versus Inter. But that completely changes the narrative around him, which is completely wrong. Don't you think we need to strike like Julian Alvarez in the summer? I don't think Paris Saint-Germain needs anything. There are a lot of stuff that would help PSG, that would be better to have than not to have, but I don't think we need anything. Julian Alvarez would be really great. No question, just keep up the grandma. We're taking over again this year. Yo, Ash, you know, one of the special people on FT, especially PSG community-wise, I've had to relay, you know, we've known each other for Twitter in a while, so I appreciate it a lot, man. All love back to you, man. And we definitely taking over again. Hashtag back to back. Do you like Rodrigo? He's barely getting minutes at Real Madrid since Xabi took over. Would you be happy if your club signed him? I actually made a video discussing Rodrigo when some reports came out during the summer when I was away in Algeria on holiday, and I said yes. I think Rodrigo fits the profile that Luis Enrique wants: an attacker, can score, can play make, can dribble, selfless, you know, puts the team above himself. And I've always enjoyed Rodrigo. I don't think he's gotten the right opportunities, not playing in his preferred position at Madrid. So we haven't even seen peak Rodrigo. The only issue with Rodrigo, he really wants to stay at Real Madrid. I think he's banking on Vinicius potentially leaving in the summer so that he can take that left wing starting spot for going into next season. But we'll have to wait and see. Wow. Does Beraldo, Lee, and Gonçalo still have a future at PSG? Good question here. Obviously, I just saw a report about Beraldo wanting to leave, PSG letting the door open, Luis Enrique's staff not being 100% in him. So I think Beraldo's future is coming to an end. Same with Gonçalo Ramos, and honestly, the same with Kangin Lee. I think both Beraldo, all of them three want to leave, and I think that will be the message for the upcoming backup players. You know, we'll have backup players for 2-3 seasons, but then they will be fed up and believe they can go to another team and have a stronger position. So I think all of them have a very small future at PSG. When and how do you see Dembele getting the captain's armband? I don't think Ousmane Dembele will ever get the captain's armband. He's obviously, I think, 3rd in the pecking order potentially, or maybe 4th behind Hakimi, Vitinha. But it's just not something Dembele really cares that much about. Other players care more about it. And I've always been someone that feels midfielders and especially defenders should be captains over attackers. Dembele should just focus on his game. Mbappe or Haaland? Mbappe. Are Madrid the top 3 team in the world if we beat Liverpool as well with a clean sheet? We're top 3 teams defensively through, though surely considering how vulnerable we were under Carlo. Houston Militao, even after 2 AC, Valverde, Carreras have been fantastic. Top 3 team in the world. I think Paris Saint-Germain, obviously. Bayern München, obviously. And then there are conversations. And I think the conversation has been between Real Madrid and Arsenal for that 3rd spot. There's no City, there's no Liverpool, there's no Barca. So I think it's between you two. And if you beat Liverpool, well, obviously Arsenal lost to, a bit convincingly, 100%. Honestly, if I had to choose between Madrid and Arsenal, I would still choose Madrid. So yeah, I'm going to say top 3 so far this season, yeah. Could you do a reaction to that video? 1 Premier Hater versus 20 Premier League loves Drew the Parisian guy. We're all to you though. Thanks. Because of different reasons, copyright, so on, I'm a bit scared of doing reaction videos, and I've already watched that video because they sent it to me on DM. I don't like those kinds of honestly, I don't like basically majority of football content on YouTube because a lot of it is just trolling, it's agendas, it's narrative, it's to make people laugh. And look, if they find that funny, if they find that entertaining, they can do that, but I wouldn't want to be part of that. I'm someone that wants to talk from a standpoint of truth, of logic, and having a discussion. I don't want to have a debate, and that was just debates and fugaziness, man. Prem fans as well. Do we have a better season than Yamal when we finish top 5 Ballon d'Or? What do you think? I mean, it's very likely Paris Saint-Germain will be very strong as a team, and France will be very strong as a national team. And if Due performs really well for PSG, he could be a 100% starter for France in the World Cup. So, yeah, I could definitely see that happen. Yamal also has a strong case with Spain at the World Cup, but Barca this season obviously looks a little bit question mark, even though I think Barca will get back to similar levels to last season. So, not a bad take. How far do you think Ghana will go in the World Cup? Honestly, I haven't followed Ghana during the African qualification to the World Cup, so I don't know how good they have been. Thing is, though, we have AFCON soon, which will determine how great these national teams are, so we'll have to wait and see. I honestly don't know. Maybe make it out of the group. I say Kangili and Ramos are lazy for a full game and very reliable usually for like the second half or very late in the second half, especially like Spurs, for example. And 2 people are tripping mad with me. Do you disagree or understand how I mean Psgint? No, I do understand, Kings. I've always said Ramos is not well from starting games. He's better against tired legs when there is more space, when Paris Saint-Germain maybe are a little bit more direct and looking for Ramos more often. And Kangili the same. When you look at his impact in second halves and first half, it's different. He always improves his performances in the second half. I remember that a little game, for example, he was better in the second half. I think even Strasbourg game, maybe he started, he was better in the second half. So that's always been a thing for both Kangili and Ramos. So yeah, I do agree with you. Barca vs Chelsea prediction and Bayern PSG prediction. Bayern PSG, I've already said 3-1 is the feeling I have and the feeling I will stick with. I want a 2-goal win versus Bayern, not just a 1 goal. Barca Chelsea, especially now with the Pedriano injury, could be a draw. Could be a draw. Thank God Bernardo wants to leave PSG. Who should we sign in January to replace him, or you think we should stay with Noah Kamara? No, there's one dude we're linked to FC Nantes. And if Luis Campos feels he's the best replacement for Beraldo, he's the best. Why do you have Barca day and night? Honestly, I don't wake up hating Barca. I don't wake up thinking about Barca. But when I go around and see what Barca fans say, what sometimes Barca players do, especially Yamal, and sometimes the Barca club does, you gotta troll that. You gotta troll, especially how much you guys talk. Like, I remember how much you talked ever since basically the Champions League quarterfinal last season, when, you know, the push was there for a PSG Barca final, until we played this season. Barca fans talked so much. So instead of looking at me, look at yourself. Why is Barca so dislikable? Answer that question instead. I feel like we've really cleaned up our spending and getting high wages off the books, and it's leading up to a huge superstar signing next summer. Who would your dream signing be? For me personally, it would be Julian Alvarez. He's a baller, man. I definitely agree. When you look at the wage, we have lessened it a lot. There's a lot of space. For who? For what? But the superstar I would want is Erling Braut Haaland. But I would also love to get Julian Alvarez from Atletico Madrid. You should come also on TikTok Live with Junior and me. I'm good. TikTok is not my thing. Which players do you think PSG can go for in the winter market? And do you think we'll sign a proper 9? Sitting around with someone who can play anywhere in front of them. Again, I don't understand this proper 9. If you're talking about like a target man-esque 9, we're not going to sign that at PSG. We'll always play with like Julian Vargas, he's not target man, so that's a player. In winter, honestly, I don't know. We knew about before with Magnus Achillios potentially as an opportunity for Monaco, but at the moment, we don't know what will happen in January. What do you think about people making fun of your views and interaction when you ain't talking about Barca players, and why doesn't PSG fan base don't pull such numbers? I mean, obviously, the Paris Saint-Germain English fan base is way smaller than, for example, the FC Barcelona page. What it's mostly about is that I have Barca fans on strings, basically, on Twitter. I mean, I even met a Barca fan in I've met 2 Barca fans in real life that have known me from Psgint. And both of them were Barca fans, and they're like, yo, why do you troll Barca so much? So I think I have Barca fans on strings, so they're trying to react to that by creating narratives that, yeah, a lot of my tweets, especially regarding Barca or Madrid, get a lot of engagements. I mean, that's not surprising. And some of my engagements regarding PSG, or sometimes anything, don't get that much engagement, which is completely normal for any account on Twitter. It's just a reaction narrative that they're trying to create because I have them on strings. How far do you think Algeria and Morocco go in the World Cup? Honestly, I'm not as confident with Algeria as I should be. We'll see if that changes after AFCON. Algeria, inshallah, will make it out of the group. Morocco, quarters at least, honestly. Do you need Barca versus PSG to be replayed? I would love PSG and Barca to be played in the knockout stages of the UEFA Champions League with actual stakes, and hopefully both teams are fully fit so we can get an actual 10 out of 10 game. Would you rather have Yamal or Pedri, and who's the better player? I think Pedri is better than Yamal. Yeah, I think Pedri is better than Yamal. Would you rather have Pedri? I don't want to have Yamal. But if we're talking strictly about the footballing talent of Yamal, if let's just do this, oh, Yamal became humble. Yamal became a normal person. What, Pedri's like 23, Yamal's like 18. In that sense, I would take Yamal if he was humble. But he isn't, so I'm going to take Pedri. What do you think about our toughest opponents this season in the UEFA Champions League? I think it's quite easy. It's going to be Arsenal FC. It was tough playing them last season. It will be tough again, even tougher than last season. Mostly because of their playing style, not because of their individual ability. Like, if we're facing a Barca or Madrid, I'm thinking, oh, Mbappe's pacing behind, Vinicius magic, Rafinha pacing behind, Yamal's magic. But when it comes to Arsenal, I'm like, it's going to be really hard scoring against them. And they're not going to create open, clear-cut chances. They're not going to cook Pacho, cook Nuno, create openings. No, it's going to rely on set pieces and filthiness. I already remember the tie last season. It was disgusting to watch. Do you think PSG consider selling Barcola to get Alvarez? I think we should try to keep Barcola and still get Alvarez. Why Ammar? So, I don't know. Who are your picks for top 3 left-backs in the world right now? Nuno Mendes, Balde Davis, probably. I know Calafiori's had good form so far this season. Aitnour has been injured. Kirk has been ass. Carreras is a good shout. Obviously, Davis has been injured, so... And Balde, even he's been injured, so... Maybe Nuno, Carreras... I don't know. Someone else. Yeah, I know. Pedri got injured. And I mean, I was the last person to be surprised. I've constantly been talking about Flick overplaying the Barca players, especially Pedri. And now he gets injured, so 4 to 5 weeks as well. If you had to throw one first-team PSG player with any player in football, who would it be and why? The weakest link in our starting lineup at the moment is Lucas Chevalier. And I would trade him for Gianluigi Donnarumma. Do you see PSG winning the Champions League again? If yes, why? And if no, who do you think could stop them and why? If any team could stop us, or teams... No, I can't answer that. There's no significant team I'm looking at potentially stopping. Maybe Bayern. We'll see how it goes now in the group stage game. But yeah, I do see Paris Saint-Germain going back-to-back for multiple reasons. Obviously, I've already made a video about it if you want to check it out. But the reasons why I think Paris Saint-Germain will go back-to-back is because... We're the second youngest team to ever win the Champions League after Ajax in 1995. And they lost majority of their players. They couldn't keep hold of them. We kept hold of our players, which means we have an even improved squad from last season. Yes, we didn't make that many signings. We bought Zabarne and Chevalier. But the improvement from the youngsters, like Assini Mayulu coming into the team, like Warren Zaire Emery improving the competition, like Njanto coming through, Mbaya getting more minutes and so on. I just think the competition level at Paris Saint-Germain is really strong. We're the most talented team. And we even saw in the beginning of the season, Paris Saint-Germain have many injuries to many crucial players, but that still didn't affect us because the Luis Enrique system and management is absolutely superb. So it's very hard finding reasons. I think the only somewhat valid reasons that I've heard by non-PSG fans is Chevalier. Donnarumma saved us a lot last season, Chevalier didn't. And my opinion to that is, even if we had Donna this season, he wouldn't need to save us this season. Look at the Club World Cup. We reached the Club World Cup final despite having a very tough run. Did Donnarumma save us? No, because we were so good. We were thrashing teams. So far at the beginning of the season, has Chevalier needed to save us? Atalanta 4-0 easy. Leverkusen 7-2 easy. Barca 2-1. And they barely tested Chevalier that game. So even that argument, I don't rate it that highly. Who do you think will have a harder time facing PSG, Arsenal, or Real Madrid in youth? Who do you think will have a harder time facing PSG, Arsenal, or Madrid? I guess. I think Arsenal probably. Madrid, they obviously played us recently, and maybe there's similarities between us and Barca. I think Arsenal just don't face teams like PSG. Obviously, there is no team like PSG in the world, but there are similar teams to Paris Saint-Germain. Yeah. I mean, Carreras, for example, he's been playing against Yamal multiple times. Imagine when Calafiori comes up against Desiree Doué. He's like, I don't face this in the Premier League. So I just think the football in the Premier League is completely different from us, whilst the football in La Liga is more similar to us, I guess. That's the answer I'm going to go for. Apart from your obvious best in the world, Mbappe, Goretzka, Haaland, Kane, who would you love to see play for your club? Haaland. Haaland is the superstar that I want at PSG. How long do you think Luis Enrique will be at PSG for? And who do you think can replicate what he has done? I think Luis Enrique obviously has already extended to 2028. I could see him up until 2030. But I think, actually a funny stat, Luis Enrique has never been sacked. He's always left mutually. So I think when he knows the end is here, he will mutually end it. Instead of like Pep, who's just stayed too long for City. Who do you think can replicate what he has done? I've always liked Xavi. I don't know, as future manager. Obviously, Thiago Motta has always been on the cards, but he needs to get a new job ASAP to get his stocks up. So Thiago Motta, Xavi, maybe. Maybe if another former PSG player becomes a manager or something. I also like Flick at Barca, even though I think maybe his tactics are a little bit too much. Who's your top 10 football talents to rule next decade? Top 10, I mean. Let's do one from every team. I think that's easier. Paris Saint-Germain. It's a bit... Do we still count Nuno as like a young talent? Because it's Nuno, Neves, Doué, one of them. But I guess I'm going to say Doué. From Barca, Yamal. From Madrid, Arda Güler. From Bayern, maybe Karl Lennart. He's looking very good. I thought it would be Pavlovic, but obviously he had the ACL last season, hasn't been back to his fully best. I don't know about the trust from company towards him, still starting Goretzka in every single game. Liverpool, maybe Nchuminga, whatever his name is, that left winger. Chelsea, Estiva. They also have Kendrick Páez, who's good. City. People want to say Oscar Baba. I don't know, City. Yeah, the talent at City looks very mid. Maybe Trafford. They sell him and he goes on to a better club. Perform better at another club. Arsenal, probably Max Dauman, Nwaneri. Should have said Barca Cunha to get more attention. You see how you see how emotional they are. Who do you think is the most underrated team in each of the top 5 leagues? Good question here. Let's go. Premier League. Underrated in terms of what? How good they are? I'm going to go United. I don't know how underrated United are, but I've watched them once. I saw their first game versus Arsenal, and I was really impressed. Now they also have their first 3-game winning streak. So I'm going to say United. I think people should rate United more highly. They have a lot of great talent in their team. And they do not rely on set pieces as most satanic Premier League teams. La Liga. Probably Villarreal. They've been looking very good so far. Picked up a lot of good signings. Nicolas Pepe is performing well. They had that dude, something from Canada, used to play for Inter Milan. And they obviously signed Mika Witze from Lyon, who's a great signing. So I think Villarreal. Bundesliga. You could have said Stuttgart before, but I think they've fallen off a bit. Bundesliga. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Let's go with Stuttgart. Ligue 1. Okay, here I should know. The most underrated team from Ligue 1. Maybe Arsenal. They've been really strong this season, sitting second in the table. Previously were in the Champions League, in the Europa League, and Conference League. I don't think they're in a European competition so far this season. Maybe Strasbourg, but I don't think Strasbourg are that underrated. A lot of people know about the Strasbourg project. And Serie A, Como, even though I don't think Como are that underrated, Como look to be, you know, one of the futuristic clubs to dominate Serie A in the upcoming future. Does PSG own Barcelona? Give a reason and why I do think Paris Saint-Germain owns Barcelona. I mean, we've beaten you 3 times. Twice in the knockout stages, once in the group stage since 2017. We've taken Neymar, Ousmane Dembele, and Lionel Messi. 3 of the, 5, 6 best attackers you've had in the past 10 years. Also taken Arnaud Tenas and Cheeky Xavi Simons, which we sold for 70 million, who came through your academy. So the question should be, how does PSG not own Barca? I mean, if any club did this to us, I would be completely honest. Yeah, they own us. You know, the only club I can say somewhat to that is Madrid. Madrid have a really good record against us when we've met recently, apart from the recent Club World Cup game. And when it comes to signings, you know, they got Endrick ahead of us. They got Chouameni ahead of us. They got Camavinga ahead of us. They got Franco Mastantuono ahead of us. They got Arda Güler ahead of us. And they took Kylian Mbappe from us. And I'm going to be honest, in terms of that, that's some kind of ownership that we're trying to change now, obviously. But I just wish Barca fans were a little bit honest about it. Been tracking revenue expense in the Prem for years, and it's just disgusting. Sunderland newly promoted side spent 200 million this summer, and nobody's talking about it. They picked up players that would start in most top teams in top 5 leagues. Super League in disguise. What's your thoughts? Never seen that before. Yeah, I've known this for a while. I think the team. Yeah, as you're saying with Sunderland, because finishing first or second in the championship isn't even the biggest thing. The biggest thing is finishing in one of the qualifying spots and winning that qualifying thingy, because then you get a huge 150, 200 million. I think that the winner of that championship, Super Cup game, or whatever you want to call it, gets more than Paris Saint-Germain during the entire Champions League run, including winning the Champions League final. Which just shows, you know, it's all about money. That's why everyone is flocking to the Premier League. You know, when a player goes from Villarreal to Sunderland, it's not because he wants to play in the Premier League. It's because Sunderland will pay him a way higher wage than what Villarreal will do. And yeah, the Premier League is basically a Super League. Why I wouldn't fully call it a Super League? Because there is no Bayern, there's no Barca, there's no Madrid, there's no PSG. That's why if these teams come together and want to create Super League, the big Premier League clubs would still leave the Premier League. But as a top 5 European league, if you compare it to other leagues, yeah, I think the Premier League spent nearly double the amount of all the other top 5 European leagues combined. And yeah, it's very unfortunate for our leagues, but honestly, you know, this has been a plan from the Premier League since 1992 when he went from the English division to the Premier League. And, you know, our leagues are just stuck in behind. They're stuck in the past. So we should only be critiquing our leagues for stupid stuff rather than, you know, criticizing the Premier League for that. If you're 6 inches... When did you become a PSG fan? I became a PSG fan in 2012. Ibra was a huge reason. I had family in Paris. I'd been to Paris a couple of times before. And Paris Saint-Germain was a really unique club to support in 2012 in Sweden. Do you think Doué can have a chance for the Ballon d'Or if he keeps at this form? As now we go back-to-back and France go far in the World Cup and him being the star in it? 100%. 100%. I even felt Desiree Doué came a little bit low in the Ballon d'Or ranking last season. But yeah, I think Desiree Doué will be even better this season than last year. And as you mentioned, with Paris Saint-Germain potentially going back-to-back, with France looking strong for the World Cup, Doué could be Doué's year. Desiree Doué. Which position do you think Mayulu is most effective, false 9 or as an offensive 8? I mean, both of them are really similar, especially in the Luis Enrique system. But I'm going to say more false 9. I love when Mayulu makes runs. especially his relationship sometimes with Brady Barcol on that left side. So I think Mayulu is very great at making runs, and he makes less runs as a false nine. So I'm gonna say offensive 8. What do you think of this PSG team? Can they rule Europe for the next 5 years? And how many UCLs this team having? Yeah, I mean, we've already started ruling Europe. Reached the Champions League semi-final last season, or last season. Won the Champions League last season and reached the Club World Cup final. And we about to go back to back, inshallah, this year. So no, I think we're already started our ruling over Europe, and it's just gonna continue. How many UCLs? I don't know. Let's say 2026, 2027. 2028, 2029, 2030. So until 2030, 5 years, at least 2-3. We gotta have high expectations. Why you hate Jude like that? Bayern versus PSG result. Bayern PSG result, Paris Saint-Germain to win 3-1. I don't like Jude Bellingham because he's not authentic. He's a fake personality. Has a huge ego. He's a huge narcissist. And is overrated by many football fans. If you want a Barca player, who would it be and why? I said this before, if he became humble, I guess Yamal on that wing, they would play duo in midfield, like duo Yamal, Khvicha, Dembuz or something. It would be crazy. But I like Pedri a lot, but we have a really strong midfield. I like what Kubarsi has, you know, as a profile as well. I guess between one of Yamal and Pedri. Who's the best penalty taker ever? Honestly, I think statistically, maybe Matt Letizier. If anyone knows about him, OG Premier League GOAT at Southampton. I think maybe he has the best penalty conversion. If not, I think it's Cristiano Ronaldo. Neymar Jr. also a great one. Ronaldo is just taking so much, that's the thing. It's a huge sample size. Well, I think PSG lost against Chelsea. I think maybe 2 reasons. Mental/physical fatigue. We'd had such a big year. You know, Chelsea were competing in the filthy Premier League and Conference League. Was Paris Saint-Germain going at it against the biggest and best sides in the Champions League group stage and knockout stages. And then we had a much tougher Club World Cup run. And then mental fatigue in the sense that we won the treble, we won the Champions League, we beat Madrid 4-0, beat Bayern, did all of this. And then it's very hard to have that extra motivation and hunger to find. It was clear Chelsea had more motivation and hunger to win that game than Paris Saint-Germain. And second of all, I just think tactically, they found like a hole in our system, and our pressing was just really bad. Which meant, like, all of their goals came from the exact same thing, which was Nuno Mendes being in a 2v1. Apart from the first goal, that was a Nuno Mendes mistake. The other 2 goals came from the same. Khvicha Kvaratskhelia was pressing, didn't recover, and then it was Nuno versus Gusto and Palmer. They had just too much space. So I'm going to say those 2 reasons. Bayern versus Arsenal predictions. Ooh, interesting. I'm going to support Bayern, obviously. So I'm going to say a Bayern 2-1 win. Do you think Lunin from Madrid could be a pickup PSG should make in the winter transfer market? Nope. We're not looking for goalkeepers, but I really like Lunin. Are you going to make a video with Bayern now before the Bayern vs PSG game like you did back in the day? Nope. PSG didn't exist. What club would you support? No clue. Honestly, no clue. Because I didn't have any kind of... I used to watch Ibra slightly when he was at Barca, then I watched him a little bit when he was at AC Milan, but honestly I have no answer. How much do you hate Yamal? To some kind of extent. Was Prime Bale better than Prime Salah? Bale. Oh, Bale. Yeah, obviously. Do you think Dua has a chance of being a future Ballon d'Or winner? 100%. Top 5 PSG seasons? I don't want to see that. Top 5 PSG seasons. Obviously, last season first. I'm going to put 19-20 second. I could put 23-20. I don't know. 23-24 was just such a chaotic season. But still, we won. I'm going to put 15-16 third. No. Yeah, 15-16 third. Then I can put 23-24. And then I can put 17-18. We didn't do that much in the UCL, but it was really entertaining to watch under Unai Emery. How far do you think Barca can reach in Champions League this season if all players stay fit? At least semi. Quarter semi. We're taking Mbappe back. I'm going to still say no, but Maybe it changes. I think Kylian Mbappe's season have been overrated, mostly Pence. I don't think we're seeing the best of him centrally every time goes wide. He looks unstoppable. I think Mbappe, we're seeing huge improvements from last season. There's obviously more improvements to be made. But no, I think Mbappe has been great this season. He shouldn't be someone we critique that much. Which centre-back should Barca sign and go for? Obviously, if you look at the big names, which Barca fans want as well, is Schlotterbeck and Bastoni, two left-footed centre-backs that would suit Barca really well. But they're too expensive. A cheap one. Maybe looking at Konato, Upamecano, and Gui, if one of them, their contract ends in the summer and they don't extend. There's Inacio in Sporting Lisbon as well, who could be a bit cheap. What's the key for back-to-back UCL attacks for PSG and some advices? Just have the motivation and hunger. That is the most important part. Because it's not about reaching the top, it's about staying at the top. That's why it's so hard to stay at the top, because the hunger and motivation fluctuates and sometimes goes down, and you just got to keep it high. And I think that's something Luis Enrique knows about. Who should Barca look for in terms of a replacement for Lewandowski? Realistic option. Who should Barca look for in terms of... I think Guirassy. You've been linked with him. The report says Flick admires him. I think Guirassy would be really top. So hopefully guys have enjoyed this Q&A. And as usual, hopefully guys have enjoyed this video. Allez, Paris.